I am joined today by 3-time Sammy Award winner Vincenzo Peone, or Vinny, from, where are you from?
Everywhere.
I know.
Eastern Security Services and Intelitech Security Services.
Yes, so he represents 2 systems integrators, but part of the same family?
Yes.
How does that work?
Same ownership of both companies.
I see.
Cooper McDonnell is the president of Eastern Security Services. Harrison McDonnell, his brother, is the chief operating officer of Intelitech. And then Weston McDonnell, he's down in Florida for Intelitech South. He's the president down there as well. So 3 brothers in security, 3rd generation security pros.
And what do you do for Eastern and for Intelitech?
I do the marketing for both. I'm the director of marketing. I started as a technician, so my background's a little unconventional. But I manage their social media, the websites. I manage those, one of which I'm completely rebuilding right now on a staging site. We don't contract out any of this work, and I get solicited by marketing agencies and other companies all the time. I do it all myself. Me and Cooper will collaborate on the stuff. Some of the Eastern folks, they're a great focus group because I'm based out of that office in Syracuse.
Right.
So I always have another creative eye or two. I have help filming the content. A lot of content creation. It's what we won the Sammy Award for last year, and even this year winning one for Best Promotional Giveaway.
Which was what? What'd you give away?
We gave away a Yeti Tundra 45 cooler. They highlighted, though, it wasn't necessarily the item we gave away as much as the viral campaign around it.
Right.
Which that's kind of just our thing at this point, as they said, our onslaught of social media marketing. But we do that. We do some email campaigns as well, but mostly social media.
So I'm going to ask a controversial question. Why does security industry marketing suck so bad?
I think the security industry in general is very, very conservative.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that is because a lot of people have done it. Like, they're in for life. And a lot of my coworkers, they've been there 25, 30, our longest one's 39 years.
Yeah.
And that's amazing, but at the same time, they know what they're used to. And that's not just for technicians, that's for the salespeople, for folks in marketing, most integrators don't have a marketing team, at least the smaller ones, but the bigger ones, the manufacturers, it's a lot of folks who've been doing it a while, and there's some resistance to change there.
Yeah, for
They've
sure.
done it for a long time, it's worked for a long time. That being said, obviously, there's newer folks coming into the industry, there's newer people making purchasing decisions, and you're seeing a lot of integrators, Eastern and Intelitech, under me as director of marketing, we're going a different route with our marketing and trying to appeal to a younger generation and really expand our reach.
What advice would you give to a small systems integrator? Hey, I can't afford a marketing team. I can't afford a director of marketing, but I want to be able to expand my reach and reach some new customers. Like, what advice would you give to a small company like that?
No, and I've talked to a lot of small companies, and a lot of them, for starters, I would get on social media. And one way or
step
another.
number 1.
Absolutely. Facebook, a lot of people say, oh, it's not professional, but still, if you're marketing to residential customers, they're on there, they're making purchasing decisions. Even if it's a commercial client, the people in their purchasing departments, the CTOs, all these people more than likely have Facebook, or their spouses do, their kids do. Any opportunity you have to get in front of them, you jump on it. And I would start with Meta. I would start with Instagram and Facebook, and LinkedIn is the most important one I would jump on, especially if you're working with commercial clientele. It's fantastic. Most of your vendors you work with are probably on there already. So HID is huge on LinkedIn. You are huge on LinkedIn. I would jump right on that and leverage what you can from your existing partners. See if you did an installation of an HID signal reader, snap a picture of it, download Canva, for free basically. If you get the Pro one, $12 a month.
Right.
Drop your logo right on that, tag HID in it, boom, there's reach.
Right.
And
100%. And by the way, if you tagged an HID or whoever, if it's a camera manufacturer, you tag that, they're going to reshare that.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden you're getting maybe global or national reach on just a quick picture that you took.
And the thing is, there's some skill involved, and the biggest thing is the time involved. And I've talked to a lot of small integrators, and that's the thing. A lot of them, even the president of the company is still out doing service calls in some cases, or he's taking them over the weekend. So a lot of them, they don't have the time, and they don't want to learn it. So I would still, for these guys, I would recommend obviously reaching out to me, which I might be biased here, but come up, handcraft a solution that works with their budget, their time, whether it's just helping them with the occasional social media post, whether it's doing a one-time consultation and then checking in with them once a month.
Yep.
I also pride myself on being a supportive friend in the industry as well. If somebody sends me a post that they want to expand their reach on, I'm the first person to like and reshare, as are you
100%.
typically
Yeah.
when it's anything to do with HID, mobile credentials,
Yep.
and an achievement. You've been very supportive.
Yeah.
And really just expand your network. But if you need help with marketing, anyone in the industry, reach out to me.
Yeah, for sure. I will make sure to leave Vinny's contact information down below, especially to his LinkedIn. Follow this guy on LinkedIn. The content is top notch, chef's kiss. But I really like that take on just take a pic. You have your phone on you. You're doing the installation. Take a picture and post it, especially on Instagram and Facebook, because those are local platforms and people in your community can see that. And then when it comes time to get an alarm system, who are you going to buy? You're going to buy from the faceless national alarm system company, or you're going to buy from the guy that is servicing your neighbor's homes, right?
Exactly.
It is the modern day equivalent of word of mouth.
Yep. And that's a big thing. A lot of these national ones, they're just using the same stock footage that the other national ones are. And the only thing that's different is the logo. You get the guy in the blue jumpsuit or the coveralls. I don't know why AI and Adobe photographers think that alarm technicians, play dress up as mechanics.
Right.
We don't.
No, we're showing up in jeans and a t-shirt, guys.
No, and chances are you probably have a logo that you're proud of. You've got a brand you're proud of. You have people that you're proud of. And if you're not, that's a bigger problem in itself there.
Right.
But you want to, as Jake Voll always says, you want to represent your own brand.
Yes. Yeah.
That's huge.
100%. And if you are partnered at a manufacturer level, like if you're installing HID, call your local HID rep. Call me, like, hey, I'm going to post this. Can you reshare it? Hey, I'm installing an Avigilon system.
Yeah.
Call them. That they are interested in promoting their products as well, believe it or not. So we're here at ISC West. It comes as no mistake to most of the people watching this. But you're here as an integrator. Obviously, you have an agenda. What is of interest for you to see? Like, as from a security systems integrator perspective, when you come to a trade show like this, what is your agenda typically?
So for me, and I'm not selling anymore. I mean, I'll sell. I do it for the thrill of it.
Yes,
If it's a client I've worked with before, a referral, they come to me directly, I'll do it.
We're security nerds. Yeah. We like the cool new stuff.
Exactly. I love doing it. For me, coming here, a big thing is product discovery. So I can, discover new things. I think it's a lot of people coming to ISC West. They want to see the latest and greatest. So I like to find that out so I can communicate it to the sales team so I can communicate it in my marketing materials. Hey, we've got this coming out. Check out this new, last year it was the big, the alarm.com floodlight was a big one for us.
Yes.
So I love to do that, but more importantly, I also like to find other, vendors, whether it's ones we already work with that maybe we're not, maximizing our partnership with, or, new ones who maybe have something to offer we don't have. But I'm always looking for more value that we can bring to our partners or that they might be able to bring to us that maybe we just didn't know about. And there's a lot of it out there. I mean,
my biggest pet peeve though, like as you walk through the trade show, because I'm very similar. Like I'm not here to make buying decisions necessarily, but I'm a nerd and I like to see all cool new stuff. And there may be a vendor that has just a little tabletop that has the coolest new thing that you've ever seen, but you just walk right by him.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest mistake, and maybe not just for the small manufacturer, but even for the larger ones? What's the biggest mistake you see some of these guys making?
I'd say some of them don't always pick the best people to work their booths.
That's a good one.
And I've been to some booths, some from our partners, and some from ones we don't currently work with, and even some of our partners, they don't always have the best people working at the booths. And you can go from one booth to the next, and they could be very, very different. Some of them, they're evangelists. They love the products. They know how to talk to people. They're outgoing. They've got riz, as you say. And then other ones, maybe the week is getting to them. They're tired out by day 2 on the expo of all the setup and everything. But I would say choosing the right people to be at your booths, especially if you're a smaller company and you only have 1 or 2 people there, it's so important to have the most charismatic person you have. But another thing, a lot of these ones, they might have an amazing product. If I've not heard of them, if I don't recognize the name, the logo, anything about them, they might get walked by, and not intentionally, just again, the name I don't recognize it. So for these guys, if you're launching something new at ISC West, you're a newer brand, a smaller brand, you need to try everything you can to try to get that viral recognition before the show.
Right.
Try to find some way to get people to your show or to your booth.
Yeah, I fundamentally agree wholeheartedly. Like, I need to know your booth number. I need to know what you're showing, and you got to give me a really, really good reason to get there. And that's not like, oh, we're giving away something, because I'll go on a little bit of a rant here. The amount of people that are just here for the swag is unbelievable. to me. Like they're not interested in even hearing about your product. It's like, you got something there, I'm just going to take it and keep walking. And so to promote like, oh, we're giving away whatever, chapstick at the booth. Okay, great. Well, I know I'm going to come to your booth and grab some chapstick. Maybe I'm there for a conversation, but probably not. You need to like show real value in what it is that you're actually promoting at the show.
Absolutely, and you got to do it. Like, I love giveaways, I love the swag. You got to be strategic about it. And
Right.
a lot of the ones like like Asa Abloy last year, I got a snapback hat, but I didn't just walk up and get a snapback. This was after talking to them for probably 45 minutes, looking at some of the new products, taking pictures and videos. Like, hey, by the way, you can have this hat.
Right,
That's
right,
a smart
right,
way to do
right.
it. If you're going to announce a giveaway, force the people at the booth to have to do something first for it.
Yes.
And one company that was very clever with it this year was Verkada had an escape room, and you had to wait in the line, which I was not able to do it yet. I might try to go back. But you went through it, and then they had 4 different escape rooms there, and you had to utilize the analytics from their cameras to find your way through it.
See, that,
and
that's
then after
clever.
that, then you could get a prize.
Right.
But you're getting this crazy exposure to their products beforehand. That's a smart way to do it.
Yeah, I the other way harkens back to my old days, going back to Northern Video Systems. We had the beer and basketball at the booth. So the front side of the booth was a bar, the back side of the booth was a basketball hoop, and people would line up, they'd take a shot, and if you scored, you got a beer buck, and you'd go around and get, and by the way, if you missed, you'd get a beer buck too. And then ultimately, because we were a distributor, all we really cared about was your contact information. Are you a security systems integrator? Great. Can I scan your badge? Here's your basketball, take your shot, here's your beer, thank you very much. And then we would follow up after that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming to the booth. What do you need? What are you buying? How can I make a deal?
That's what it's all about, is lead generation.
That's it. So like, yes, it's you can show a product at your booth, that's fine, but really it's about the lead gen. I think that's the thing that a lot of manufacturers miss out on a show like this. Is like, oh, we got to show all the cool new products. Well, yes, but wouldn't it be better if you just got the name and called them and have a really good, consistent way of scanning those badges and being intentional about it? Like that idea for Verkada, that's genius.
It was genius.
That is
Big
really
shout
good.
out to them on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Similarly related, like, how should manufacturers be marketing their products to systems integrators?
So I've got some insight on this, working for 2 systems integrators. You see a graveyard of trifolds and pamphlets and other brochures.
Yep.
At least in the Eastern office, I've been in several offices, it's all the same. You see all these brochures, there's great collateral, ones that manufacturers have invested a lot of time and effort into making.
Right. And then the rep comes in, drops off a box of donuts,
Exactly.
here's a bunch of pamphlets, thank you,
And
see you later.
we love seeing our reps.
Sure.
And, we're glad to have the effort from them. And this is me speaking personally here, but the stuff has dust on it half the time. Like, very infrequently will you be like, oh, I got to bring this this trifold to the sit down. Like, the stuff over email is great. The email collateral is great, and that's much quicker just to send that, and they'd save a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I know you're big on not printing things needlessly.
Yes, thank you.
So, this send them some digital ones. What manufacturers should be doing is focusing on B2C marketing. They should be marketing to the end user of this product relentlessly. Look, if you buy a Silverado, you see an ad for a Silverado from GM. You're not calling 1-800 General Motors, like, hey, I want this new Silverado.
No, you call the dealer.
You go to your local, GM dealer, exactly.
Right.
And that's what it should be for all of these big manufacturers. Instead of giving these dealers marketing collateral they're not going to use,
Right.
they should be going to the end user with it.
And taking that marketing budget and really going direct to the end user without selling to the end user, and then
absolutely.
you could bring that through. Is there what's your take on like co-branded marketing and stuff like that?
I love it. And my partners who give me, an online portal where I can go in and have all that collateral right there that they'll have co-branded. I'll give DMP a shout out on this one, actually, with IntelliTech. I reached out to them. I wanted to make a little library of tech support videos.
Sure.
They had them back to me within less than a week. They had 60 videos for me, all with the IntelliTech brand on them.
Wow.
Which, I could have done it, would have taken a very long time, but they did it. They've got very loose copyright restrictions now. You can put it right on YouTube, right on, your Facebook, whatever, your website. But partners who do stuff like that, and that's a lot of the partners we work with today. Everyone I've reached out to, from HID to alarm.com, if we don't have a portal, we just tell them what we're looking for, and they come back with it.
Manufacturers, all right, please listen to this, because like this is what the integrator is looking for. We're not just looking for a pamphlet, a trifold pamphlet with a spec sheet in it. That's important, but that could live on the website.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
really about driving demand, like marketing from a manufacturer should be about driving demand at the end user level and then bringing that back through the channel. And ultimately, as the manufacturer, that's how you provide value. That's
Right.
like, that's the thing that I do at HID. Like, yes, I'm communicating to systems integrators. Yes, I'm communicating to end users, and that's really the end goal, is to just drive this awareness so that way when an end user is ready to make a buying decision for a mobile credential, they've been relentlessly inundated with this face. And then they're like, okay, let me finally call HID. And HID will talk to them and say, well, who are you going to buy it from? Well, go buy it from Vinny, right? Because you're in, the Buffalo, upstate New York area, you're in New York City, or you're in Florida, right? I mean, you need a systems integrator. And that's how the value chain really ought to work.
And one thing too, on the topic of co-branded marketing materials, one of the most valuable things is real people using real products. And a lot of the big manufacturers, they try this. They do it in a lab, or not in a lab. They do it in a studio.
Right.
They do it stage with paid actors, and they have the little disclosure on it. And it is a little transparent.
Yeah, it rings hollow.
Yeah, if you're doing a TV ad, yeah, that might work
Fine.
for that. But if you're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, even LinkedIn now at this point, YouTube Shorts, it's got to be real people. And that's something, what's HID going to do? You're not going to go out in the field and be shooting this stuff when it's installed, be shooting it, that's where the integrator comes in, or their marketing partner who can go in and shoot this for them, get you a gritty, raw, testimonial of it being used in the field. And that's gold, and that's what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that's where there's so much opportunity for collaboration between dealers and manufacturers, or manufacturers and marketing consultants.
100%. So I mentioned the M word, the mobile credential thing. From a security systems integrator perspective, what is your take on mobile access? Like, is it a thing for you guys?
I love it. I'm all about convenience and user experience. I think realistically, after the actual safety and integrity of a system, the user experience is paramount. And that's what a lot of times they're going to make the purchasing decision on, is how does this affect their day to day? And in my opinion, there's nothing more convenient than mobile. And there are some places that will insist they need to have a physical badge still with a photo on it. And with their regulations, they may or may not change. But for most places that I've encountered, the end game is a mobile credential. Unfortunately, you go into a place, say it's got 20 users on it, easy. Set them up with mobile, you're good to go.
Yep.
If it's a place that's got 5,000 users and, a limited size of their IT department, limited resources to quickly switch them over, you need to have flexibility, and you need to have something that will still work with their prox cards and will also work with mobile. And then once you migrate them all off of prox, you can kill prox, they're all on mobile. And honestly, the HID Signal Reader, not to give you a shameless plug here,
thank you.
Made our lives significantly easier for us and our end users to be able to put something like that in that's flexible. You can, configure everything right from an app.
Right.
It really
has all the standards in it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go mobile, it's ready to go, basically. Yeah. So that's actually really good to hear, because, as the mobile evangelist, I preach all day about mobile, but to hear from a systems integrator that
oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially too, once you get the readers online too, you name them right on there. You can do the configuration, depending on the size of the place, of course, but most of the places we're in, at least for Eastern, I can be right at the head end and I can configure everything right from my phone, because I've got all the readers named on there too. And when we first started using these, at first we were worried about the learning curve. Our technicians are gonna, they're not gonna want to do this over an app. They're gonna want to use the old programming cards instead.
Right.
Everybody's gotten on board with it. It was very quick and easy to learn.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people don't realize about mobile access. It's not just about putting the card on your phone. It's also about being able to communicate to the reader from a service perspective. That is the other side of mobile access that the end user doesn't necessarily see, but is important to the systems integrator too. You can use your phone. Right? No more config cards, which was a legacy from a bygone era. It's a pain. I got to order one, and then if that thing gets lost, that's a problem, right? And we need to keep track of those things.
On some of them too, you got to reboot it, which if you've already got the, the reader on the wall and I got to go to the head end, I got to unplug it and then quickly race back there to, to punch in the code at a certain time, or scan the card at a certain time. This is so much easier.
Absolutely.
So much easier.
Absolutely. So, Vinny, if someone wants to get in contact with you either for, a marketing campaign and consult with you about marketing, or if they're in the New York area or Florida and they need a systems integrator, how do they get in contact with you?
They can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. I'm online basically 24/7. I'm on just about every social media network except Twitter or X.
X,
now.
You can't say Twitter anymore.
I am going to be launching a new project here pretty soon, so this email will change, but I will always be reachable at Vinny, Vinny, at easternsecurity.net. And you can call me anytime, 315-729-3517.
All his contact information will also be below. Vin,
Perfect.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil.
Yep.